Ladies and gentlemen, you are now tuned in to the Spicy Ramen Podcast. Sit back, relax, and prepare to be served.
All right, now going into, welcome ladies and gentlemen to the special part, or part 2 of My Hero Academia movies. Now we are going over the most recent and balls deep anime movie.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, now for part 2 of our March Movie Madness episode, we're going into the most recent, as he said before, the most recent released My Hero Academia movie. The second installment to this series, My Hero Academia Heroes Rising. If you follow us on Instagram, or you are on our Facebook page, or you follow us on Twitter, you probably had saw our reaction video to our right after watching it. I don't apologize for my actions in the video. I was still on my hype juice from watching that movie, and I will say this was a really big step up from the first movie. This one, I believe
yes.
It added a lot of stuff that they didn't add from the first movie, and then I also learned a couple of side stuff from other sources that the original creator and writer for My Hero Academia intentionally put certain things in this movie that he knew he couldn't put into the main storyline. And we'll go over that in the end, towards the ending. This right now is our non-spoiler discussion. And once we start weaving into the movie, we will go into our spoiler one. So if you have not yet listened to this, if you have not seen the movie yet and you're listening to us right now, just know that this is going to be just pretty much like an overview of how we felt of the movie and how much we recommend it. And we will go into the spoiler section. Once we go into there and you have not seen it, stop listening. Come back to us once you've seen it. We will let you know when we get into the spoiler, okay? So, like I said, digging in this movie, jumping in full force. I believe that this one jumps right into the action. It's good that how they explain pretty much like they did in the first one, the whole hero world and stuff like that, and how the whole things with quirks is going on. So I do like how they kind of do a quick synopsis explanation of the show itself and its lore. So if you're somebody who just showed up with a friend, or you're that parent who went with your kids, or you're that boyfriend/girlfriend that went with your significant other because they wanted to go see it, you kind of get a decent serving size of what's going on. So you don't have to have too many questions on your brain. You know what I'm saying? And it reintroduces a couple of the characters, introduces a couple of newer characters, and I know Justin's going to talk about this in a little bit, but shut up. I know he's going to explain this later on, but there are certain portions of the movie that go into some segments that's further along into the manga than in the anime. And Justin will explain that later in the spoiler section. So we're not going to discuss that. Now. This pretty much is talking about these students going to this island that is pretty safe. Not really a lot of bad stuff going on. There's no really major supervillains. The crime rate in this island is very low. It's in a very southern island from Japan, from the mainland. And UA decides to send a Class 1A there to kind of do a hero agency to get their, hero, some basic hero jobs done for that island. And they're a temporary agency until they have a permanent hero to work on that island, because the previous hero that worked at that island had retired. Now, they don't really introduce us who the hero is, or even say the previous hero's name. But that pretty much kind of just they kind of quickly explain the reason behind why the entire class is there, which is good because we've mentioned in part 1 that the first movie doesn't really involve everyone. In this one, everyone in 1A is there. You know what I'm saying? And everyone's doing something. You got a couple of classmates answering phone calls from people. You got a couple of classmates going to the beach, going downtown. going to the farms, helping out everybody, and you see the connection between the Islanders and the class, and like how appreciative the Islanders are of the class's work and stuff like that. And like, you see each character, doing their role and how they're interacting. Like I said, this is like they did with the previous movie, and not like they do in a lot of shonen anime. They show that little slice of life kind of segment where like, yo, this is kind of like a day-to-day kind of thing for them and everything. And how pretty much just like, they're enjoying that, like, this is just, it's not big, crazy, world-ending, life-saving hero work, but it's hero work that affects the community in a positive way, and they're positively helping out with somebody else. You know what I'm saying? And that can be like a really good message to the audience as well. It's like, no matter the job, big or small, you can always make a contribution to your community. And I know I kind of went teacher mode on that one, but still, that was like a really nice thing that not many people would read into, but when you dial back and look at it, you can see that kind of message into it as well.
Even though the civilians
they really didn't
do shit.
I mean, like, but like it's an island that's been at peace. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they really don't have too much to do or worry about. You know what I'm saying? But I think overall, this movie was a really big step up from the first one, like I said before. And that before we really get into the spoilers, that like there's a lot of really interesting segments of this movie that were really interesting. Some you're kind of just like, all right, cool. This is just to kind of move the story along. Okay, I get it. Plot device. But I think it led you on a very more interesting roller coaster ride than the first one. And so I would say this one, I feel like this one is a really good recommendation from My Hero fans. And I think I can also say, well, no, I don't know. I would kind of almost say that if you've never seen the My Hero show and you saw this movie, it would draw you to go back and watch it to actually like learn the show.
Yeah, definitely.
Like if you just happen to go with your friends, like you have no idea what My Hero is, but your friends are telling you, let's go watch it. And you sit there and watch it with them. You're like, holy shit, this movie is pretty awesome. Let me go back and see the show. See what's going on for real, for real. You know, I feel like this is what this movie does.
And I think the best part about this movie to me was, even though they do a lot of alluding to what's bound to happen in the future, they don't do any drops of actual information towards the canon piece of the series.
Yeah.
Like, at all. Like, there is no real conversation. There's no real reference point. They explain stuff, but they also put it in a reference of, I'm the captain now, so to speak, when Midoriya is acting. Like, when they put Midoriya in, they immediately, first 5 minutes, explain that All Might is not a part of the show.
They pretty much kind of like catch you up. It's kind of like they do a quick thing to catch you up. It's like, all right, this is what's going on. This is what the story is consisting of, and this is what you're about to see. So good luck with that.
And I think it's great. Like, I think that this movie really shows that, yo, fuck what the adults are doing. If we were given a situation where we had to be the adults and we had to do it, we could do it by ourselves. We don't need the top 10 heroes. We don't need any of it. I mean, yes, we do eventually, but we can hold our own.
Well, I don't mean to rebuttal, but I believe this was more so of a like, hey, listen, we have a situation on this island. Don't shit happen on this island, but I need you guys to just be there and do and get some job done until we get somebody here permanent. There's no way you should fuck this up. It's kind of just like, hey, I need you kids to do this job for me real quick until I get somebody else. You shouldn't be able to fuck this up. You should not be able to fuck this up. But because of it's a shonen movie, something is going to get fucked up, and it's funny how like you get to that point, that climactic point of the movie, and like the adults in the mainland in Japan are like, wait, what's going on? Ah, shit, they fucked it up.
Yeah, and I think you're actually alluding to exactly what I'm talking about. Like, they are supposed to just be on this cakewalk, walking the dog, finding kids, random, fixing engines, like
Right.
jumping cars. They're doing the little shit, but what this movie to me says, and I know this is kind of like, this isn't spoiler at all, actually, because it really is just the movie itself. This movie really shows that, if shit were to hit the fan and we don't have that support system of, Endeavor or any of the top 10 heroes, we can still fight. Like, we're okay. I know y'all holding us back until we graduate and all that good stuff, but no, we'll be good.
Yeah. Yeah, I can definitely get behind that.
Because, and that's what I was so happy about. There was no, like, oh, the knight in shiny armor Endeavor, or like how All Might was in the last movie, where it was so alluding to the adults being able to save the day.
I would definitely. Well, no, I can't say too much now. I wouldn't want to spoil anything.
Yeah, I know, and that's why I'm trying to keep it as unspoiled as possible. But yeah, there was no safety net until the end. There was no safety net at all for these kids. And even when I went with my wife, because she watches My Hero too, she was almost like, so when does like someone else show up? She's like, these kids can't do this. No.
Yeah, definitely. I would say like the writing direction in this one is a lot. It's a lot. I won't say well put together, but like it doesn't have too much of that typical shonen movie writing in a sense. Some of it does, but like as far as like just making sure certain elements are put together and stuff like that. They granted that now, like I said, I'll explain it more in the spoilers, but certain elements that's like, oh, because this is a movie, it's not going to happen anywhere else kind of thing still comes into play, but it's kind of like, okay, I can accept that. And this one is like, I can accept that.
Yeah. So, are you ready for the spoiler piece?
I think it's mostly you than me.
Well, before we get to the spoiler piece, we're going to do this one a little bit different from the Two Heroes, because the Two Heroes one, it's been out for about 2 years now. So we were able to give more of the breakdown of the movie. For this section, we're going to actually give you what we think, give you the scale of 1 to 10, and then get into the breakdown. And I'll start it off with, in summary of this movie, I think this was a very, very, very well written, very detailed based conversation that to me was perfectly written on the aspect of what if. And they did a lot of alluding of the what ifs inside this movie. The music behind it, I thought at certain times was a little off towards the end. I understand the songs that they put and why they put it there. I was hoping for more of the badassery music versus the, prevailing My Hero soundtrack. I mean, they followed their heart they followed their winning cycle, so I can't be mad at it, but I was wanting like almost the metal bass, like, no, we're going to do this. There's a few scenes specifically where I was like, no, like I didn't want the almost Whitney Houston voice in the background in this moment. I wanted like, I'm going to fuck shit up type.
I think that song that you're talking about is like, I think that's the same song they used in the Yakuza arc.
Yeah, they do. And that's why I was like, I get it why they were doing it. Just because I understand don't mean I want it.
True.
So if I were to give this a number, I'm going to give it a scorpion pepper or a 9. 1.4 million on the Scoville because it, again, every part of this movie has you pulled in from the right after the opening credit all the way until they are leaving this island and they are done and you're ready to cry at the end. Like, every piece of this movie, there is no down points. I can only think of one moment where it was an actual down point, but it's in the middle of all the fighting and people getting wrecked that you almost kind of need that breaking point. Yeah, I think they really, really did a great job. The only thing that had me pushing towards an 8 was the plot armor that they had to do at the end.
Yeah.
Oh my God. The plot armor they did in the end, I was like, y'all couldn't think of anything else?
And we definitely will talk, once we get to spoilers, we're going to details on that.
Anything else y'all had top tier all throughout. And then the ending, y'all do that? I'm like, oh my God. Again, we're going to get into the spoiler piece, but I think all wholeheartedly, I'm giving it a 9, aka the Scorpion Pepper. And that's my rating. What's yours?
Well, to be totally honest with you, man, as much the fanboy part of me wants to give like a 9.5, but realistically, because of certain nitpicks that I have for it, and I can't really explain without spoiling it, I honestly will give this one an 8.5. Granted,
Okay.
Granted, I'm saying that it is better than the first movie, and I feel like it's a good continuation of the My Hero movies. As in, let me rephrase that. 5, 4, 3, 2. I believe that this is a good secondary movie to the My Hero series, and they definitely took a step up from the previous one. But seeing this after watching this past story arc, you can kind of tell that the writing for the Yakuza arc in the anime I wouldn't say suffered. You can see that with this movie that a portion of the previous story arc, the Yakuza arc, I wouldn't say suffered, but you can tell that their direction was more towards the movie than with that story arc, because I believe there are certain elements of this recent story arc that could have continued or at least been told a little bit in more detail. Because they kind of just like, once they got to a certain point, they just like jumped right into it. But I feel like more could have been done, and you can kind of tell they're like, yo, they poured everything else into this movie, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but you can kind of just really tell.
I definitely agree with what you're saying. I think that the Yakuza will be brought up again. And even where I'm at, they don't go into detail that I was expecting for Overhaul's character. I thought that they were going to.
No, I thought it was like you're saying. I thought it was going to go into a little bit more details as well. Like they definitely had the advantage to do so.
Yeah, but I also understand why now. But as a anime watcher, I'm like, dude, like, nah, y'all could have explained even more onto what happened with the entire Yakuza clan and why they didn't get to where I thought that they was going to get to in the anime.
And then another thing from my rating, another big reason why I gave mine an 8.5 instead of a 9.5 was the primary villain of this movie. Not saying that he was worse than the first one, but there were additional, and like I said, I'll explain it more in the spoilers. But there were other parts of the main villain's entourage that felt more of a final boss type, final villain kind of feel than he was. If that makes, because like I said, I'll explain it more in the spoiler, but it felt like the main villain was more so of a plot tool than the main villain.
And you making me want to go down to Ghost Pepper myself, because even with the main villain, it was like, man, you only showed, and again, I don't want to give into the spoilers, but he only showed half of his strength.
And I'm not, like I said before, guys, I'm not saying that he isn't the worst movie villain, but I just feel like I said again, I can't really go into too much detail without spoiling it. I feel like because the way his entourage was set up, there were other characters that felt more of like a final villain than he was. But like we'll get into that in a few seconds. We're almost there, guys. We're almost to the spoilers.
So to summarize it, you're giving. I think I'm gonna stay with my 9. I'm gonna stay with my 9 because that was what came to heart first. But you're going with the Ghost Pepper, and I'm going with the Scorpion.
Okay. And like we always say, guys, give us your opinion in the comment section, whether you're listening to this on YouTube, Spotify, or any other of our media outlets, or let us know in the comments on Instagram, on any of our Instagram posts, or on our Facebook page, or any other social media that we use for the podcast.
Now, without further ado, we can get into these spoilers.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you are now listening to this portion of the recording, we are about to go into spoilers from My Hero Academia Hero Rising. If you have not seen the movie, please pause and go watch it. Please listen to this after you have watched it. If you have not, I'm saying it one more time, just because if you didn't hear me. If you have not seen My Hero Academia, the movie, Hero Rising, please stop listening. If you have not seen it, we will now be spoiling and going into details of the movie with everything that happened.
Yep.
This is a spoiler warning. This is a spoiler alert. This is the spoiler alert. This is the spoiler alert. This is about to be a spoiler alert. I don't know how many times I can say it now.
All right, so I'm gonna start it off with
spoiler alert.
I'm gonna start it off with how it begins. It starts off with you following the League of Villains trying to transport something. Even they don't know what it is, but we later on find out that it is the main antagonist whose name is 9. I think 9, and we're not, just because even though it is a spoiler, we're not going to get into that much detail of the movie itself. But the number one problem I had with 9 was he was able to use 7 individual quirks before he was able to get his 8th. We seen the weather. We seen his blue eyes white dragon.
That was more sort of a well, at first when I first saw that, I thought of like Blue Eyes White. We both together thought Blue Eyes White Dragon, but I also thought Gyarados from Pokemon.
Yeah, Gyarados, but the head is what I was like.
The head of a Blue Eyes White Dragon, but the body of a Gyarados.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Yes. Then he had his barriers. That's 4.
Yeah, the barriers, and then the laser fingertips.
The laser fingertips. That's 5, and then able to shoot air. That's 6.
Yeah.
What was the 7th quirk?
What was the 7th one? You already mentioned the weather one, right?
Yep.
What was it? It was something about it was something with his vision, like he saw
the vision, to be able to tell, visualize the quirk itself and understanding what it was.
Yeah, some kind of like analytical kind of quirk or something like that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So so that's all 7. Okay. Never mind. I'll take that back. So yeah, I can stick with my number 9 now.
Yeah. And for those who didn't catch it, that like his character name is 9 because of the experiment. Well, Dan, do I explain that?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Fuck it. It's
a spoiler.
So his name is 9 because he was an experiment for someone to utilize All for One, but like with his abilities, he's only able to use 9 quirks at once. So like that's why his name is 9, because that's how many quirks he can use and handle. and because of those experiments, he's starting to develop cell cell disintegration.
Yeah, cell disintegration. Cell tissue
Yeah,
starting to disintegrate.
Yeah, cell tissue disintegration. Pretty much like he's pretty much another way of saying cancer.
Yeah.
And the premise of it was 9 having to find someone with the quirk of cell manipulation or regenerate. What is it? What's the term I'm looking for?
Activation, acceleration.
Cellular activation. Yep. Pretty much he needs somebody with a healing factor. Pretty much.
And I think they did a great job of that. Even explaining the acceleration, they also noted how it's limited, even if you do get it.
Yeah, because he ended up getting it from the kid. For those who've seen the movie, because this is a spoiler review. This is a spoiler review now. That because like he gets it from the dad of the little kids who live on the island and are waiting on their dad because he goes in and out of the island for work. Like the dad, he has the cellular activation, but it's only for B type blood. So it's like shit. I gotta get. I think he had to get A positive or
no. So his dad can only do A type blood, and the son can do type B, which is
okay.
Who the main villain is. He's type B.
Yes. Okay. So yeah, there we go. All right. So yeah, he ends up getting it, but he doesn't get the right cell type. So that's why they have to go to the island to find the kid who can do it. And it just happened to be all because like the dad was like. He was like FaceTiming him, right? Or like he was looking at a recording that they sent him.
Mm-hmm.
And saw the picture and I was like, oh no, we good. Cause quirks can be passed down to the next generation. Looks like we're going to an island, motherfuckers. So like the Chimera guy.
Yeah.
Dude, the Chimera guy, dude, I would love for him to be a boss fight in a video game. Like this dude. Straight
he
up.
was in Tekken. He was the Tekken final boss.
We'll go into more. We'll go into more detail when we get to that part. But yeah, so we kind of establish who 9 is and what 9's purpose is in the story and why he's going to the island in the first place. And like we said before in the non-spoiler, that like the first segment of the movie is kind of just explaining why Class 1A is at the island. What their purpose is for being there and all that good stuff, and like the whole shonen slice of life with the characters. And like I said before in our previous portion of this episode, when we talked about the first movie, that like in this one, like the whole class is there and like everyone's playing a role. You know what I'm saying? Like a couple of people are at the beach helping out. People at the beach, a couple of people like helping out. Farmers, I think like one of them was like Kaminari Denki was helping this old man restart his battery for his generator, and Kaminari's just like, yo, why won't this old man just buy a whole nother new battery? Why do I keep recharging it? It's like, well, you keep recharging, he's just gonna keep calling you and tell you to come recharge his battery. Or like how Ida, once again, I really can't. I'm gonna leave it alone at that point, but still, like he's just gonna go grab an old man who broke her hip and take her to the hospital and all that good stuff. Granted, okay, yeah, it's a good act of valor and everything, all that good stuff, but it's just like, you know what I'm saying? Even like Bakugo was like he was like a whole mood. He was just like, y'all let me know when there's something interesting to do. I ain't doing all this dumb shit.
And shout out to Bakugo, man. His main character development in this movie was dope as fuck.
And I know I've listened to other podcasts as well, and I agree with it that like Bakugo gets has Vegeta moments, and it's completely awesome. Like it's crazy. Like Bakugo has a whole bunch of like Vegeta moments in this movie, and it's like ridiculously great. Yeah,
if you replace Hero with Prince, he's definitely all the way Vegeta.
Oh yeah, and then like it's okay because like the class is like. We figured he would do this because like it's Bakugo. Like he's not gonna go out and just like help somebody cross the street or freaking go like do like other like side tasks for like people. He wants to like do the hard tough stuff. You know what I'm saying? And then
like even
action. Even Todoroki was playing his part, you know what I'm saying, helping out on the beach, giving people ice and stuff like that, which was kind of funny when, like, the dude said, like, hey, you mind giving me some more ice? And he's like, all right, cool. And he like, makes his fucking 5 foot tall mound of ice, and he's like, oh, yeah, that's way more than I needed, but cool. It's free ice, I guess.
Yeah, I think, and even with Todoroki, I think they, in comparison to the last movie, I think they knocked down a lot of the MC's roles to let the other people show their value.
Yeah, I believe it's more like a equal. I won't say equal, but like it was just more so of like, let's make sure everyone has a. Well, you know what? Not. I will say I think a good majority of the class did something in this movie, but I feel like it was one or two that really didn't do too much.
Four Eye Dude, but he had one of the biggest, most pivotal parts in the movie.
Who?
What's his name? Where he has all the hands and eyes. Where he was trying to give him a 20-piece literally with 20 hands.
Wait, give me a minute. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. I know who you're talking about, but what I was gonna also mention was old girl who's invisible.
Yeah, she didn't do much at all.
Toru Hagakure. I would say out of everyone in the class, she didn't really do much of anything, but just be there and be a part of conversations. Like,
yeah. But I don't expect
crazy.
her to do anything in these type of scenarios. Like, she is a investigation spy type hero.
True.
You're not gonna, like, this is a setting up a siege to take on villains. She's not doing any of that. She's butt-ass naked the entire time. Like,
no, I don't think she's naked. I think it's like they use something.
See-through clothes?
Yeah, I think like they made like see-through fabric or something like that. Cause remember how they do with Miro, like, cause like his whole costume can go through stuff because they use his hair.
Yeah, but
I think that's the same thing with hers.
Yeah, it's just, yeah.
No,
I think she has on a full body condom suit.
There's gonna be somebody who listens to this and can't unhear that nor unsee that after that scene. I really believe that now. But I know you're talking about Shoji.
Yeah.
Mizu. So Mizu, I believe in this film, Mizu Shoji was an MVP because he tried his damnness.
Yeah, no, he
to do what he could.
Did. Yeah,
he definitely and just kept getting. I won't say shitted on, but just kept getting just the left boot to the face, man. Like,
but he played his role because I don't think he's like that. I'm going to be a number one hero. I think he's the support guy. Yeah,
like he's just doing like I'm just doing my thing. I'm trying to be here to be the best I can. I'm not going to be the best, but I'm doing my best, and that's respectable.
And he does. He does just that. He's the good relief for the main two heroes to get a quick breather.
Yeah.
While they was getting, and that's another thing, they was getting their ass beat the entire movie.
Yeah. So like once it gets to the portion of the movie to where like the villains show up to the island, that's when like I will say for this movie, once the villains get to the island, it's all action from there. Like that's when like the whole slice of life portion stops. And it's just like, all right, the plot is heightened, and we're staying in the high point for the rest of the time we're here now. There's nowhere else to go but up at this point. And the three, I guess, like, well, no. And like the villain entourage that's with 9 are like a pretty decent, well, I don't say decent, but are a pretty like interesting group. Cause like one's the female called, and her villain name wasn't all that great. I think it's called like Slicer.
Yeah, it was like, Slicer or something like that. Hold on, I can tell you exactly.
And it's cool. I mean, it's cool, I guess, because like she sharpens her hair. Like her hair is her weapon, and like she can sharpen it to like cut through stuff or like shoot out needles out of her hair and stuff like that.
It was Slice, 9, Mummy, and Chimera.
Yeah, and then Mummy was cool. Mummy was cool for a good little bit.
Hold on, let's actually back up and even explain this. So, sorry, we're still, as you can tell, we're still living like we just walked out the movie theater. But there are 4 main villains who are going to this island. Their names are 9, Slice, Mummy, and Chimera.
It's Slice or Slicer?
It's Slice, just Slice.
Okay.
Nine is the main antagonist. He has what we already explained, the different all for one type quirks where he has up to 7 and within him, and he's looking for the 8th, which is that blood type, to recover during the time that he's actually using all 7 other quirks. Mummy has the ability to take linen and wrap different objects and bring them not only to life, but control them as long as they are inside the wraps. Slice, as Shaq was just explaining, can not only manipulate her hair as if she's a Medusa, but send out different little pin needles and all the
uses the pin. She very much uses the pin missile move from Pokemon.
Yeah. And then last, but certainly definitely not least, is Chimera, who is the true ogre from Tekken. If you know what Tekken Tag is, if you ever saw a true ogre, that's who Chimera is. He is a mixture of wolf, falcon, dragon, and hawk.
Yes. No, it's like no. You already said falcon.
So so falcon. Yeah, so it's wolf, mixture of falcon, wolf, and dragon.
Yeah. So and my thing is like his character design is like straight out of full. I feel like Chimera's character design was something that was straight out of Full Metal Alchemist. And like for those who've watched the Full Metal Alchemist series, and y'all know the Chimeras in Brotherhood specifically. Like if you look at him, you would think he's a character straight out of Full Metal Alchemist. You would think he's the Chimera from there, and like, he just went to My Hero and say it's a quirk.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't see anything but Tekken Tag. The moment I saw him.
Well, towards the end, yes, but in the beginning, I saw.
Yeah. Towards the beginning, I see what you're saying. Yeah. What happens is these 4 characters are working with the League of Villains to try and find this accelerator quirk. They find the father, but they realize that the top A blood doesn't work for him. He needs type B. And Slice notices during this altercation or interaction that he has children. They immediately know, okay, they need to go to his hometown to find the 2 kids and to find out not only which one has the quirk, but hopefully that type B is inside that child. When they touched, and to what Shaq was referencing, before they touch down, and again, another shout out to them and how they set this movie up. All that action that I'm referring to takes place while they are on the island doing all this little stuff. So the 4 villains fighting Endeavor, this League of Villains fighting Endeavor to transport 9 to the other 3 villains, to the other 3 villains attacking, what's the kid's name? The kid name was Minoru, I think. Minoru
Which
Mineta.
One?
Yeah, Minoru Mineta. Attacks Minoru Mineta's father. All of this is happening within a day's time. Like, they get right to the action. And when they finally get to the island, they start off getting on the island by destroying all possible routes of leaving.
Oh yeah, like they took like a cruise ship or something like that, and they just crashed and destroyed all the other boats on the port. What is it called, a port or a pier? I'm not.
They crash into the pier and they destroy all of the boats that are alongside the pier.
Just started wrecking stuff. And once like people are realizing like, oh, there's actual villains on this island. Holy shit, it's going down.
Yep. So the night before this crashing onto the pier, Minoru and his sister, the night before set a prank up on Bakugo and Deku, saying that there was a villain. His sister has the ability to create illusions. And his sister name is Katsuma. So Katsuma makes a giant ant or a giant
it was like a praying mantis.
Yeah, giant praying mantis. And Bakugo goes to try to fight it, but he realizes that it's an illusion. So when we fast forward to the next day and they crash on the pier and destroy all the boats, the two little kids, Minoru and Katsuma, are the first two people to see this happen. So they go running off trying to find the heroes, or AKA Bakugo and Deku, to try to tell them that there's villains on the land.
Well, they call the agency. Bakugo picks it up, and it's it's one of the kids that he answers, and he's like, "Oh no, you're trying to do a prank again." But Deku, I guess, overhears it and grabs the phone. He's like, "What's going on?" And then the phone disconnects because Chimera had knocked out the phone tower. So,
and that's how the battles begin.
Yes.
So the first battle you really get into is Chimera fighting against the four, which is Todoroki. Who did they fight? Todoroki, Ida, and
Ojiro was there.
Yeah, I know it was one more person. I just couldn't think of it.
Oh, so I know Sue was there. Sue was there, but she was helping evacuating people along with Sato, aka Mr. Sugar Rush.
Okay, yeah.
I think he threw a couple hits in too. Not like any big hits, sadly, but he threw a couple hits in.
Chimera begins to give the adult version of an ass whooping I have ever seen these kids go through.
So in the movie, so this is just the first fight.
Yes.
They refight the villains twice. In this first one, it was just like, yo, y'all ain't. It's like, yo, the kids are struggling against these dudes. Not even the main villain yet. The main villain's still walking around, but his entourage, I won't say sidekicks, but the other the minions or what have you. These guys, everyone is struggling against these dudes, and it gives you that whole oh, you would think that the side villains are always the easy ones, and it's just the main villain that's hard. You're like, no, this whole entourage was freaking going at it. Well, at least until you get to the portion to where Kirishima, Kaminari, and Bakugo are taking on Mummy.
Yeah, so the first fight you see is Chimera giving these ass whoopings out left and right, and it instantly goes to 9 finding the two kids and destroying their house.
Yeah.
You see that he's finally excited. 9 is finally getting, and shout out to 9's voice actor, Johnny Young Bosch.
The GOAT?
The GOAT. I was like, is that Ichigo? The whole time. I was like, why is Ichigo's voice? Why do I keep hearing Ichigo? And he keeps saying society. I'm like, oh my God, this is not the secret society.
Yeah, man. Shout out to him, man. Dude, one of the goats of American voice acting for anime, man. Definitely big shout out to him. I'm a fan of him. So
yeah, I mean, obviously he has a long list from Bleach to Trigon to Gatekeepers to Naruto to Dorarora. He's done a hell of a long list, but the only thing I could really remember in that moment was, God damn it, Ichigo,
yes. Yes.
But yeah, 9 is trying to take this power from this kid. But of course, our hero Deku reaches them and is able to get them away for a moment and tells them
coming to save
off.
the day.
And of course, kids being kids, they don't fucking run off when they're supposed to.
It's what's going on? I want to watch this.
Yeah. Now, Deku, who I appreciate they showed his growth, he starts instantly going into analyzing mode. He's
right.
Okay, so I see that he can shoot air. I noticed that he has a blocking quirk. I can only go at 20%, so I'm only going to do 10 and seeing if I can hit him. The breakdowns that Deku was doing in those moments was fucking beautiful.
Now I would mention, I know, backtracking a little bit there before they got to that fight. The fight with Mummy and Bakugo, Kirishima, and Kaminari, straight up, it was good visual and stuff like that, and how Mummy can control inanimate objects and makes it as his little Mummy wrapped minion, and because Bakugo had so many I wouldn't say a lot of stuff on him, but just enough on him for him to be manipulated, and you're oh shit, he's kind of controlling Bakugo, but then like Bakugo just like screw you and your quirk and sacrifices one of his gauntlets to get free, and then just like releases this giant freaking pretty much just straight up final flash this dude in the face. And it's like, if this was realistic, he would have died. He would have been dead. Like, that was definitely like a whole death
and that's what I was
blow,
pissed at in this movie too. I'm like, these motherfuckers died. Like, there is no way these motherfuckers survived. You took a bomb to the mouth.
Right. And it did like the whole little like fading away of like his body. And you think like, oh, he just got disintegrated to like 1,000. And then like, Bakugo even says as he does it, die. Boom, and it just blows up in his face. Like, come on, there has to be like, I understand, you know what I'm saying? Like, so much content as far as like a villain being defeated. But that could have been like, yeah, he's dead type stuff. We don't even need to take him in. Yeah, and like just like him being like the first villain to be defeated.
And one thing I noticed that I was expecting them to allude to later on was when he was talking to them after he did it, he was grabbing his arm. You can tell that he was in pain.
Yeah.
But they didn't really allude to it after that because he goes right into the battle next, which is fighting with number 9. Fighting with 9 against Ndeku.
And Bakugo was able to get there in time, you know what I'm saying? Because one, he always wants to fight the big bad boss to prove himself and everything. Thanks to the child, the young lady who's one of the other children that he's going after, his older sister, who can make an illusion and made that giant illusion of Deku saying like, yo, he needs help. And then, you know, Bakugo coming in to help out and like, you know, Deku saying, oh, thank you. He's saying, I'm not here to save you. I'm here to beat this guy because he's the big boss. And, like, that's what I do. I knock out the big boss, motherfuckers. Y'all do the other shit.
Yep. And one thing that we're not, that we really didn't touch on was how 9, when you even, before they even go into explaining, and this is more of a spoiler on my end too, when he starts trying to take, because during the fight, Deku ends up losing the first round. Because again, these villains smack these boys around. Like there was
right. They played no games.
No games. And 9 realizes that Deku has a stronger power that he didn't foresee. And he was like, if you're a gift, chances are I need to take this from you or kill you. So he tries to take it from him first, but he's like, this is too many quirks to take. I can't hold all of these, and releases him. Right. Again, this is a deeper spoiler for those who are not caught up on the manga. And I'm not going to give a in detail spoiler, so you can continue to watch the anime and understand that it's not a real big spoiler. But when he alludes to Deku having many different quirks, and where they're at right now, they really start to break down like the past people who had quirks. They had a little conversation even in the anime already about like how All Might got it and who is his successor and how she used his quirk. I loved that part. I love the fact that they showed that this is just the beginning of Deku. This is not like a finished product by no means. And even inside the movie, he explains like, yeah, no, this guy, there's something about this guy that has yet to be unfolded. Right into it, they go right to Deku and Bakugo fighting. For those who follow the anime or the manga, you know that Bakugo and Deku just got where they actually see each other as equals, right? Or close to equals.
Or it's more so like Bakugo understands Deku's situation and he wants to fight. Pretty much kind of like the whole Vegeta Goku thing, but not more so like he wants to kill Deku, but he wants to fight Deku at his best to prove that he's the best.
Exactly. And I think these combinations that these two do, we would have never been able to see had they not been on that same playing field.
Right, like this is like straight up like freaking awesome tag team moves that you would like want to see on a video game, which also, by the way, on this recording, the second My Hero Academia video game will be coming out this month, March 20th.
Yep. And I think I think this is, for a movie's sake, it did the best version of combo fighting where it felt like these were humans fighting another human who was just stronger. Like, there was no, I mean, towards the end, obviously, there were some assholes that we will talk about, but there was no, like, real, like, oh my God, I can't foresee this being, happening, even in the manga or anime.
Right. And I had stated before, earlier in our recording, that, like, I believe, like, it was mentioned, especially from other sources, that the writer for this movie essentially put scenarios that, like, they want for the series, but can't put into the main story because it would affect the story progression. So It's like something you would love to see in the main anime, in the main manga, but it would mess up the storyline. So it technically can't be a part of the storyline. But they put it in the movie to give you, like, just kind of like, particularly warm and fancy, like, particularly warm and fancy, and like, and what you would want to see, like, for the first movie, you know what I'm saying? Currently in the anime, in the manga, well, not in the manga, but currently in the anime, like, you really couldn't see Deku and All Might work together with Deku at 100% strength. But because in the movie, they were able to write in those conditions to where, like, hey, we know technically he can't, but here's some writing loopholes in a movie to say, like, hey, here's Deku and All Might fighting all out.
And I think as they get further into the movie, obviously, during their battle, Deku and Bakugo get their ass beat, and right before he's about to take it, you see the limits of 9. You see him finally break down and say that he's not strong enough to be able to continue.
Yep.
This happens before this when he's trying to take it from Minaru's dad. When he was trying to take the quirk from him, he shows a little bit of his power and he takes out an entire city. But he breaks down then. So Deku realizes that, oh, okay, even though he whooped our ass, he does have a limit. There is a chink in this armor.
There's a limit. There's a weakness they can exploit.
Exactly.
He's not too OP.
So they are finally able to get away, kids and Deku and Bakugo included, and they're able to get to a safe haven, thanks to 9 having that breakdown. Again, there is no other reason outside of that breakdown that they are able to get away.
Right.
And even on the other side, when Chimera is fighting Todoroki and them, the only reason why they survived, and they even acknowledge it, is because the dude got called back.
Right, and then when the flare went up and he's looking at the flare, he's like, oh, well, it looks like you guys get to live another day. And they all just have that look of relief, like, oh, thank you, Jesus, he's gone.
Yeah, like, they look like, yo, I don't know what the fuck, like, it's time to change careers.
Right. Like Chimera over here giving the business, like, I'm about to ruin this man's whole career. Like, for real.
He was putting work in. Like, straight up work.
But, like, afterwards, they go back and, like, you know what I'm saying, they got to regroup all the people all the islanders, excuse me, and trying to come up with a plan, because it's like, yo, I don't know about y'all, but we got our ass whooped.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's just trying to freaking, like, figure out, like, yo, what are we going to do against these guys? What is their plan? What are they after? And all that good stuff. And, the young little boy with the cell, I keep fucking saying it wrong. The cell regeneration or cell manipulation or whatever. Acceleration. And he fixes that up and everything. And gets Bakugo and Deku together.
Yeah, because when they get to the safe haven and they're trying to recover and just realize what the fuck just happened, You notice that you get to see all these support characters really take over.
Oh yeah, and that's the one thing. Like I said before, like I like how like in this one, everyone in Class 1A has a role to play in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Versus in the first one, there are some that are playing a role, and there are some that are just there. You know what I'm saying? So I believe that's like another step up. I will say maybe like one or two seemed like they didn't do much, but I believe like 99.9% of the class did something in this movie. I think the most, and I'm going to mention her name again. I think the most that Toru did was help out with the Islanders when it was doing the recovery, when it was doing most of the recovery stuff like passing out,
which is pivotal.
Food, yeah. But when we get into the last portion, I'll talk about that.
So when they're assessing the injuries of Deku and Bakugo, they're like, they got broken bones, like they were able to stop the bleeding, but they're still like damn near dead. And Minaru is able to show his power and why 9 wants it so bad, because he's able to pretty much bring them back from the dead by completely accelerating their molecular ability to heal.
I mean, it's not more so of like he brought them back from the dead. It's just that like he accelerated their healing. Pretty much like the fact that like the kid's power is a healing factor. You know what I'm saying? Like he's able to accelerate that particular thing in their cells that allows them to heal from their injuries and stuff like that. And that's what 9 essentially needs for himself, because he's having a rapid cellular disintegration due to the experiments done on him with from the quote unquote doctor. And I guess like, you know, for all you manga readers, there's a more deeper thing with who the doctor is and stuff like that. And I know Justin knows a little bit more about me. Be quiet. Shut up. Another side note: going to anime movies with a serious manga reader can go one or two ways. Be very enjoyable or be very fucking annoying.
Yeah, because I mean, again,
but it's okay though, because Justin controlled himself majority of the movie, and I'm okay with that. And then another side note, I hate to go into a small tangent. I'm going to go into a small tangent with this, but another side note, ladies and gentlemen, I have to thoroughly say this: as you're watching the movie, if you're in a large crowd, don't be a dick and talk through the whole goddamn movie. Say your side notes. Say your side notes for the big things where everyone collectively is saying something. And then when everyone's trying to pay the fuck attention, shut the fuck up.
Amen.
I'm only saying this because I know when me and Justin went to see it, yes, there were a lot of portions of the movie where everyone was like, ooh, dang, you saw that? And then when it gets to actual portions where you have to listen and pay attention to how the story's developing, if you're one of those people who's still talking during that portion, you're fucking up the experience for everybody else. Because there's a couple moments where I had to look down the aisle and be like, yo, we're trying to pay attention. Can you please be quiet? And I grant, because maybe I'm just older or whatever, and the group I was talking to was a bunch of teenagers. I'm like, yo, y'all need to be quiet, bro. I'm actually trying to sit here and pay attention to this movie, and you're fucking it up right now. Ladies and gentlemen, please, we like the energy and atmosphere of going to the movies and seeing an awesome anime film is awesome. You fuck it up by talking too much.
Real shit. Because, I mean, I know we definitely had those moments where even I was like, finish him. And we're going to get into it. The second half of the battle, they finally realize what 9 is after. The kid finally explains they know that he's after to capture me. And they advise a plan to where they're going to like hold a fort in one of the ruins or caves on the island and have them come to them.
It was like an extension of the main island. Like it's another sub island that's with the main island that has like all the tombs and stuff like that. And they decide to hide not hide, but pretty much like safe haven all the islanders there in one remote location, because it's like this it's like a small little beach, just like on any other island. It's like a nice little sand strip that only one way in and one way out, so they can kind of like gauge, they can kind of monitor as they come in. And come up with this whole plan of splitting them up. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Everyone's separating into different groups, which we'll go into in a minute. And how, like, you know what I'm saying, they got to separate them. And they got to tire out 9 till it gets to that point where he can't use all his quirks anymore. and then capture them. And like I would say, like I said, this is where a good portion of the class is all contributing. Like you got one team that's going to be with that stay with the Islanders throughout the whole thing. You got another team that's with whoever is separating each villain. We're going to go through each villain because the only thing now I got to deal with is Nine, Chimera, and Slice. Because Mummy was beaten in the first go around because Bakugo, like we said before, exploded his face off pretty much. Somehow he's still alive. And at that point, Mummy was just like, "You got me, you captured me, but I ain't saying shit," which is respectable. He ain't snitching. Okay, that's cool. But
yeah.
So yeah, we're going
they
into
finally get into the island area, and Nine, Chimera, and Slice are walking towards the path, and instantly Momonosuke, not Momonosuke, but
which one?
Momo.
You talking about Momo?
Yeah. Momo starts bombing them to separate them, which again is all according to plan.
No, you can't forget Aoyama, Mr. Shine, Mr. Glitter.
Oh
himself.
yeah, Mr. Bustin' Nut himself.
Why you gotta say it like that, bro?
Yo,
it's the naval laser, bro.
It's a nut laser.
No, bro, you gotta respect the laser beam, bro.
I am. And
you know,
I am.
And you know,
he is thrusting forward to shoot out a laser.
No, but there's a side thing about it that I've realized about Aoyama that I've realized. So like, I forgot it was a Facebook group that had a meme about Aoyama. When you watch My Hero, every scene that Aoyama is in, he's looking. It's almost like he's looking directly at the camera or looking at you at the audience, breaking the fourth wall.
No,
like,
it is.
There's some.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like a small little tidbit. Like especially like if you're listening to this, go back and watch a couple of episodes where Aoyama is in them. If you look at him, he's either somewhere off in the distance and he's looking at you, and it's weird. And he does it in a few scenes in the movie. Like if you go back and see the movie again, and you see some of the parts that Aoyama is in, where he's not really doing anything, he's just in that scene. He's looking at the screen. Or like pretty much looking in a direction to where it makes it look like he's looking at you. And it's weird. Because I didn't realize it until someone said that. And I went back to a couple episodes that he was in. And I'm like, holy shit, I think they're making Aoyama be that fourth wall breaking character. Unintentionally.
Yeah, no, I mean, and he realizes it himself, especially when he was talking to Levity. What is her name? Levity girl? I forgot what she called herself.
You talking about Uraraka? Ochako?
Yeah.
Miss Gravity? I say Miss Gravity. I forgot.
Yeah,
I think
Gravity.
Something else though.
When he's like talking to the camera, but he's really talking to her, saying you must love him.
Yeah, it's nothing. No, but I think it's mostly the scenes where he's not talking, he's just in the scene, and he's like, but like someone else could be talking. But he's in the scene. Yeah,
like, because when she goes into her deep thought, he's, like, looking directly at the camera. Like, see, I told you so.
It's crazy. It's crazy, man. Like I said, I didn't realize it until somebody mentioned it. And it's crazy. But, yeah, so Momo and Aoyama are starting off the first assault. And it was actually pretty cool, like, the whole assault to, like, split them up into two different areas. Slice went to the side. I think she fell into a cave. Chimera got diverted into this little waterfall / river area, and Nine pushed forward to go straight up the mountain, if you will, or towards the ruins and everything. And I think we should cut over to the fight with Slice first, because that was Tokoyami and Mina Ashido, Miss the pink acid girl, dude. That I would say like that right there was awesome. When,
that battle was real.
Like, first, Mina, you know what I'm saying, using her acid to have the little cave spikes drop on Slice back and forth like that, and then it seemed like Slice was getting ready to turn the tables, and then Tokoyami shows up and is like, I got this. The darkness is my element. And does this, and it has the freaking Wolverine claws on top of Dark Shadow on top of him? Bro, you can't tell me that junk was a fire.
Yes, like, and again, I know this is more spoiler, but I appreciate them showing us in advance what's to come of these superheroes that are in My Hero Academia.
Yes, it is fully showing like the class 1A's development of their quirks. Because I believe even like Aoyama has like a different suit than was recognized in the than what's in the anime. Because like I think it's like there's certain portions of them that's a little bit of ahead of the anime, but still
like that total darkness with the claws. That's definitely ahead of the anime.
Yes, and like I said before, Tokiyami gives me that cool Batman vibe. I don't know, especially in that scene. Like he definitely gave me that. And
like
definitely was
even in the ending when he's like knowing who the Hawk guy is, it's because he trains with him.
Right. And it was pretty dope. And then it cuts back over to, which I believe felt more of a final boss battle than the actual boss battle itself. With who was it? It was Ida, Shoto,
Todoroki, Froggy, and
Sue,
and that's it.
And
and Unbreakable.
Ojiro. Oh no, yeah, Kirishima. Kirishima was there. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, them fighting Chimera. Now the fight with them and Chimera felt like the final battle because like once he starts fighting them, he gets serious and he does this badass thing where he takes another cigar out, lights it up with his own fire. Which, by the way, well, like I said, you should have seen it by this time. Which, by the way, he can breathe. On top of him being this big hulking beast Chimera, he can also breathe fire, and it's just like so badass. And like they start off with like dragging him into the water, with Sue's frog tongue. She kind of swims to the kind of like the bottom of that little like I guess lake or whatever, and then swims up, and then Todoroki freezes the whole thing. They're like, yeah, we caught him. Yeah, we got him. And it's like, dude, we just forget that he breathes fire. And he just freaking like just busts out the ice. And he's like, all right. Y'all got a little bit better since last time. I guess I'll get serious. And then like just freaking like gets like 5 times bigger and then grows the horns. And I'm just like, oh, sweet Lord Jesus, it gets worse.
And what I appreciate too is they're able to explain that the reason why they was getting worked the first time around so badly is because they were doing distraction for the civilians to get out of there. Mm-hmm. And when they let loose, they still getting their ass whooped, but you can tell it's a lot stronger from the last time they encountered him.
Cause now it's like he was just cause the first fight, Chimera was just fighting just to be fighting as a distraction while now was handling his business. And now it's like, okay, I have an objective to like make sure 9 gets the kid and eliminate everyone that's in the way. And like, so like Chimera has free range to do whatever he wants at that point.
And man, oh man, I thought they had no plan. They was just trying to fight him to knock him out until they do what everyone wants to call plot armor, which is figuring out a way to disable him.
Now, I would say beating him. I think how they beat Chimera was a well written plan.
They fucking murdered him.
Okay, so fast forward in majority of the fight scene. The final way they catch him is like they use Sue's little frog mucus or whatever to like kind of like slow him down and everything, and they pin him down. At this point, they pin him down. And Shoto pretty much like comes up with the idea of using what his dad's training about fire to amplify his heat from his body outward. He reverses that and tries to lower his body temperature to freeze him even more, and does this complete freaking Sub-Zero Mortal Kombat style finishing move to freeze him from the inside out. And
how do you get a mountain of ice out of your gut and stay alive?
Right, like how do you get frozen from the inside out and still be alive? Well, we'll get to that point later. But once the final little move was done, and like, you know what I'm saying, it has that dramatic pause in the movie. Yes, my dumbass, I yelled out because how he finished him looked just like from Mortal Kombat. I yelled out in the whole theater with the awkward silence, "Fatality!" And everyone just bust out laughing. Like, it was so awesome, and I feel like I said it at the perfect moment because everybody just like busted out laughing. It was too perfect. It was too perfect. And then dashing back over to the fight with 9, we're starting off with what surprised me and excited me the most was with Uraraka and Zero getting into it. And Zero, like the Zero, I know like he did not get like any action in the first movie, and dude's like making moves in this one because like okay, he's the guy with, you know what I'm saying, tape for elbows, but like he's using his tape for so much stuff, like freaking like he's damn near like another version of Spider-Man, like using like how Spider-Man is always using his webs for something to make the next move, and like Zero is working with Ochako to do stuff to help start throwing rocks at him and everything, like freaking awesome. And they're just throwing stuff, and 9 is, you know what I'm saying, using all these different quirks to throw them off. And then, you know what I'm saying, even Mineta, you know what I'm saying, comes behind them and it's like, all right, cool. Now it's time to bury this bitch. And throws the giant boulders and then uses his sticky balls to stick all the giant boulders on top of him. And it's really dope. I think I know I forgot to mention this, but a lot of the characters who like do this final, I won't say final, kind of like big final attack or like big thing to kind of like help along with the cause, all yell out God damn it, all yell out plus ultra. Like the way it's done, just like it sends you chills, man.
Yeah, and I think that even after they finish the fight and they get into more of the 9 battle, I think the way that they tried to use common logic of the powers that they had available to stop him was brilliant. You already referenced like how Mineta was helping them use the rocks to try to stop him with the wood and everything else.
Right.
But he was just an OP character. Like, there was nothing really going to get in his way to actually be able to stop him.
And like the whole premise of like them just doing that to slow him down and like, you know what I'm saying, like, get him to use his quirk for such a long period of time before he even got close to the kids who were like, especially the boy with the cell powers, you know what I'm saying? And just going back at it, back and forth, to where like it got to where like, you know what I'm saying, both. Ooh, and in the way he beats Zero and Ochako was just like brutal, like, you know what I'm saying? What's the name?
Yeah.
Zero's helmet cracks open. Mineta falls
when
down
he shoots
to the
the lasers
ground.
at him.
Oh yeah, with Aoyama with one last laser blast before he passes out.
Yeah, and I think
man, like,
even how they did that, I think the one thing that they missed and the reason why he was able to overpower them was because it's not the fact that he had that strength. It was the fact that he could do those if he had to use all the different quirks at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the problem that they were missing, and why he was able to easily break down and beat up everybody was because he wasn't activating all of his quirks at the same time the way he was when Kachan and Deku was beating him.
Right.
But man, when Deku, first of all, shout out to Bakugo who said, "Fuck this! I'm just gonna go put in this work."
Okay, cause he got to a point where he definitely said, "Fuck the rules! I'm going in to beat this bitch." So,
and then Deku decides to go with him.
Right. Well, I think at the same time it was kind of just like the whole like we all should expect Bakugo to say "fuck this plan" at some point because that's just what he does.
Yeah, and I appreciate how for this movie, unlike Vegeta, he actually got his shine.
He did. No, he definitely did. Like, they started off like in typical shonen fashion, you know what I'm saying, jumping in and like, okay, all right, guys, this is where the actual final fight is going down. And like I said before, I think the fight with Chimera felt more of a boss fight. I guess just because like the design of Chimera was just so like. He's like he could have been the main villain, honestly. But that's neither here nor there at this point. But you know what I'm saying? They get into it, they're fighting him and stuff like that, and we're getting towards more of the climactic final battle and stuff like that, and they're pushing him and stuff like that, and they're getting close, and he's still putting work on these guys, you know what I'm saying? Like he's
beating
still like, you know what I'm saying, using
thoroughly.
Yes, like he's just, you know what I'm saying, shooting out the fingertip lasers and stuff, still using the barriers to like push them off and stuff like that, using the electricity. Now, I will say, once he did the whole he did like that little final lightning bolt on them.
Mm-hmm.
My boy Kaminari comes in for the save and uses himself as a lightning rod to collectively block it, even though that kind of overrides him. It's just like, and it's just like, oh, now he's been over it, but it's still dope though, because like, and then it gets to that it gets to the little final little piece with the word you know what I'm saying, they're telling the kids to run and stuff like that, and my man Shoji, like I said, I think Shoji was the MVP, man, because like he's doing his darndest to like to protect those kids. Like he just got all sorts of cut up, banged up, and like he's like, dude, man, like I had to give him his props, man. Like Shoji was struggling, he was going through it, bro. And even like Jiro was even doing stuff with her sonic with her little her sonic speakers that are in her boots. Yeah. And a little amplifier.
Trying to do the little earthquakes.
Gloves. Yes, man. It's just like, yo, like, what are they going to do to push this dude back, man? And you know what I'm saying? Like, gets to that little point where, what's the name? Where Nine grabs the young daughter by the neck and he's holding her, squeezing her, and like, Nine's at his last breath. Like, come here, or I'm choking this bitch. Mm-hmm. and it gets to a point you're sitting and think to yourself, like, is this little girl legit about to die? I don't know. I'm very concerned. And then it's funny because, like, I don't know if you remember, but it was an older woman that was sitting next to me, and she's looking at me like, is he really about to kill this baby? Like, you can tell everyone was so concerned, and it's like, I believe this was somebody's mother that was watching it with their kid, and she's just looking at me and looking at the screen like, is this man really about to kill this baby? Like, I didn't know they do all this. She was not ready. No, granted, nobody was ready for that, but like, out of everyone, I believe she was not ready for that. If there was any parents that went to go see this with their kids and they were unaware of how brutal certain anime movies can get, I'm sorry.
Yep.
I'm sorry. Shit happens.
Because they definitely did happen in that movie.
Yeah. And it did. And I liked how, like, you know what I'm saying, even with all that, you kind of got like a bit of like, I want to say story development, but kind of like an insight of like the young child's mind, and like how like he took a lot of both Bakugo and Deku's words about what a hero should be to heart. And he took it seriously and decided like, I shouldn't be running away when my sister's in danger. If I have to make that sacrifice to make sure my sister's safe, I will do it. And to come with some kind of revelation like that at a young age. Granted, this is probably just power of the pen. It's probably just because of writing. But like, just to like, if you think about it, for like a child at that young age to have that kind of revelation, especially under that much pressure, is like,
and awesome. He literally did the same run that Deku did to save Bakugo.
Oh yeah, definitely the same one. And that's when freaking both Deku and Bakugo come in for the third final round, jump in, and oh man, let me say right now, buckle up. This is about to be this is the heavy hitter right here. So jumping in for the third one, they're getting at it, they're going after it, and at this point now, Nine has his mask, and he's like, "Yo, I'm at my limit. I'm right here getting the goal I need to achieve, and you guys are still in my fucking way. Fuck this shit. I'm going to 11. Breaks the canisters, breaks the mask off, and he has like this whole like evil angel butterfly type shit going on
like
with his back or whatever.
From Tekken?
Yes, like I feel like that was nothing but him and Chimera were like both like Tekken references.
Yo, I'm telling you.
Nine definitely had that whole Tekken final battle kind of look to him, especially like once he brought like the whole little tornado or whatever, and they going after it and stuff like that. And then fast forward to the big, I won't say the big cliffhanger, but the big what the fuck moment of the fight. Both Deku and Bakugo are like just torn to pieces, and they have no idea on how to beat this guy. Because he's just whipping out all these quirks at once and just like beating the dog shit out of these guys. Mm-hmm. And like I said before, guys, you should be listening to this portion if you've seen the movie. If not, you're pretty much just listening because you just didn't care about spoilers. So we're going to get into the big holy shit moment of Deku coming to a last minute revelation. Like, I have an idea. It's crazy as fuck, but it might work. And everyone in the theater is like, he's not about to do what I think he's about to do, because they're zooming in on both of their wounds, and they're kind of like showing the concept of one for all. And everyone's in the movie theater like, he's not about to do what I think he's fucking about to do. And Bakugo's looking at him like, what the fuck are you thinking about? And he's like, give me your hand. Give me your hand. And for plot device reasons, they're like within arm's reach of each other. And then it fucking happens. Dramatic pause.
Yeah, I was so fucking amped for Bakugo, man. I was like, yo, finally he gets some respect.
Yo, the only thing that bothered me was like how like when Deku transfers one for all to Bakugo, and he just automatically just knows how to go 100% like Deku can. They just automatically, like, he's just that good to just go straight up 100%. Granted, that whole art design of both Bakugo and Deku at 100% was fucking gold. Like, that shit.
Well,
like,
and I also
feel the energy.
I think the reason why he's able to do it right away is because he's had a quirk.
Yeah, I can see that.
He knew how to accelerate those cells. So it was like, okay, this is my element already.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I can see that being like the best explanation of how he can like use it at 100%. But like I said before, like the art style, and once they just go into it, and like how everything's kind of like fast forward but slowed down at the same time, to where like you can kind of still keep up with them going at these high speeds. And then like I said before, like they gave Bakugo like so much in this scene. In the scene is like he's using it on top of explosions. Like, dude, that's too OP. Like that's that's like, at this point it's just like, bro, like what can stop him? What can stop this guy? You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? Deku still, you know what I'm saying? He's still putting in the good footwork with his shoot style, man. You know what I'm saying? Busting through with I think it's the scene where like he's kind of like in a slow down moment to where like he's kind of, you can see the electricity flowing through him, and above the ground he's kind of like gliding over the ground a little bit. Yeah, like dude, it looked like he break dancing over the ground before he kind of does that zip.
And like that's why I didn't want the like Whitney Houston singing, because I'm like, dude is breakdancing. Yeah. You got Bakugo fucking melting walls in the earth.
Yes. Just melting through the wall to get to this dude.
Like, there was no, like, sentimental moment in that. It was all,
I'm sorry. We skipped the, we skipped the double Detroit smash. That was dope.
Yeah. That was, and I didn't get that. Like, why are you double Detroit smashing the air?
Well, no, they had to get rid of. They got rid of the little twister or tornado, or whatever that he created.
Yeah, but if you get rid of the person, the quirk deactivates.
But like they had to like get rid of that so they can get a direct hit on him.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
you're right. He kind of used it offensively and defensively at the same time. You know what I'm saying? So like it made sense to get rid of that first so they can get a clean one shot hit, and then they did the whole little combination. Oh my god, they did the whole combination smash.
Yeah,
to get through the barrier,
when fucking Deku started talking about this is my last time doing this, and the flame went out. I was like, oh, don't cry, don't cry.
Yeah, like that final, and Deku has to do the whole like, you know what I'm saying? He's doing the whole revelation of like, after this might be it for me. That might be the end of One for All for me, and all that good stuff. And thanks to Shonen plot armor and convenience sake, they beat the villain. Heroes show up. Of course, All Might's there. They have the parachute on the side saying like, "Oh, he parachuted down." You know what I'm saying? Because he's all sorts of airborne and all that good shit.
Yep. All parkour.
He's airborne parkour. Apparently, he shoots down, gets to Deku, and Deku and Baku go to figure out what's going on. Bakugo's already knocked out unconscious from the fight. And he gets to Deku, who's like barely awake at this point, kind of explaining that like, I'm sorry. but I passed on the quirk to Bakugo. He has it now, and All Might's like, oh shit. I get why you did it, but oh shit. I understand why you did it, but oh shit.
Yep.
And once again, because it's shown in anime, and for convenience sake, he puts Deku down. He's like, oh, I guess he doesn't have the quirk anymore. But I guess like the one for all full crowning reactivates inside Deku's body. He's like, wait, he still has the quirk. And then he just looks and touches Bakugo, and it's like, wait, the transfer didn't fully complete. He got unconscious before it finished, so technically he didn't transfer it to him, and it's still in Deku. Yay!
No, and then and I'm glad that they didn't finish it there. He was like, no, that can't be it, because Deku passed out.
Yeah, he passed out
the first time, when they were going through it the first time.
Yeah, he did.
So I'm like, that makes no fucking sense. But then he was like, no, like One for All itself chose to stay with him. I was like, okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah. And I will say, like I said before, the writers of the manga and the anime for My Hero Academia, they purposely did that to kind of give you like, hey, here's like a cool what if scenario, but because of how the scenario plays out, we definitely can't put this in the main storyline whatsoever. So we're going to play it for the movie just for like shits and giggles, and then we're going to find some way to cancel all this shit out. And that's another thing that they do a lot with a lot of shonen movies, where like they'll give you this story, they'll give you this cool little scenario that you think is awesome, that you would love to see in the main storyline, but they're gonna rewrite it off to where it never happened, and it starts you right back from square one from the beginning of the movie. Mm-hmm. So whatever the fuck happens in between the movie doesn't matter, because it's gonna be scratched all the way off at the end. And if you really pay attention, that's what a lot of shonen movies do. And if you think I'm wrong, let me know in the comment section. Show me a movie.
I'm still waiting for Inuyasha to kill this goddamn bug.
He does do that.
Not in the actual anime.
Yes, it's called Inuyasha: The Final Act, bruh.
Yeah, in the final act he does it, but that's not episode 103.
Dude, that's the canon. That's literally the final arc of Inuyasha, bro.
Oh,
it's canon. Come on, bro.
All right, fine.
It's called the final act. What more did I gotta tell you?
Yeah, I guess.
But still, once again, guys,
bell pepper trash.
Okay, we're gonna get into that later. But still, guys, My Hero Academia Heroes Rising, definitely a big step up from the first movie. You can tell where they put a lot of effort into this movie as far as animation. Storytelling was a little bit better. Like I said, a reason why I give it my rating that I give it is because of a little bit of the villain and stuff like that. But overall, I still think it's a better movie than the first one. And I feel like if they're going to continue at this pace as far as movie development from one to the next, if they come up with a third one, that third one's going to be a banger.
I definitely foresee where they're going to go with the third one. And it's happening right now in the manga. For your manga readers, you know exactly what I'm talking about. When they finish this arc inside of the anime, I cannot wait to see what they do with the movie. Because this, it's unimaginable when you think of like what's happening week in and week out inside the manga.
Right. But guys, we thank you for listening in. This has been if you have any anime movie recommendations that we go over for the month of March, let us know in the comment section. Hit us up on all of our social medias like, hey, for March Movie Madness, I think you should look at this movie or take a look, or talk about this one. This one is anyone that you feel like is underrated, overrated, you know what I'm saying, that one anime movie that you've seen that slept on, you know what I'm saying, let us know on any social media outlet. Let us know in our comment section on our YouTube channel or on our Spotify or anywhere where you're listening to this and stuff like that. We definitely want to put in some crowd and some audience input for this month, and just have a good time just talking about these good anime movies.
All right. And again, thank you guys for listening. We appreciate everyone who tunes in. Whether it's your first time, whether it's your last time, or you're just forced to, and we love the person who forced you, we just want to say thank you for tuning in, and we hope to hear from you soon.
Appreciate it, guys.
All right. Peace.
You have just been served another episode of the Spicy Ramen Podcast. Thanks for listening in. Make sure to follow us on social media platforms of Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And listen to more episodes on Podbean and Spotify. If you want more, follow us on YouTube. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Hit the notification bell too, so you can stay tuned to all of our latest episodes. Until again, keep it spicy.